When I was a boy, I spoke as a child. When I became a man, I put away childish ways. I'm on my grown man status. I'm on my grown man status. Living in the world of boys to men.
What's going on, everyone? You know what it is, man. Status one-on-one. Tonight, I just want to come from the heart with it. I want to talk about us as black people being the guinea pigs and the experiment of many other races, just watching how we interact with each other and the mistakes that we make. Do you realize people are watching everything that we do? We're so creative, from sports, entertainment, writing, whatever. But when it's time to get along and stick together, we're horrible. I read something where there's like 2,000 and something billionaires in the world, and only about 15, 18 are black. That's sad. One of the facts is we don't support. That's one thing. Also, I saw that for us to be the poorest race, we spend more money than every other race on junk, brand name stuff. Do you know brands such as Versace, Birkin, Louis Vuitton, Gucci? These are people. These are their names. They name their products after themselves. Such as, let me help you out. Michael Jeffrey Jordan. You got the Air Jordan shoe. This man was an incredible athlete, the greatest that I've seen. And because he's so good, he created a shoe that is named after him, Air Jordan. And everybody knows, hey, you want to get them Jordans? I don't have to put another name in front of that Jordan. We already know who we're talking about. And even if that man didn't wear those shoes, he would have still been that good. It's not the shoes, it's the man that's in the shoes. But he created a brand that you like because you see his name on it, and you look at the value of it because of his name. I don't see other big billionaires like Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, all these other huge billionaires. I don't see them walking around with Versace, Birkin bag. I look at a lot of their wives too. They've got stuff, but a lot of them don't spend all their money on that. Why? Because these billionaires have more money or just as much as those brand holders who are billionaires. Why am I going to spend all my money on that? The material really ain't no different or better than a lot of these others. You've created a name through a high price on it, and you got a bunch of black people spending their entire checks on this, trying to compete against the Jones. I remember somewhere around the 60s, somewhere around there was a film called How the Negro Spends His Money or something like that. And it goes into detail. You ought to check it out. It's going to make you upset, but at the same time, it's going to be like, dang, a lot of it is true. You know why? Because the truth hurts. As the Bible says, it's sharper than a double-edged sword. When we going to start realizing we need to start doing for ourselves? I'm not trying to call together no unite with black people. And I'm saying to go against nobody. I'm saying we need to come together, drop all the weapons that we've been using against one another, start supporting, and start building. This country has given reparations to so many, practically every race in the world but us. I'm still upset with Biden. Yes, he's my president, but I see some mess I don't like. I'm going to call it. It is what it is. I seen a bunch of black people come from Haiti, and got planes and sent back where they came from. I looked at a bunch of people from the Ukraine going to war. He brings them to the States. Not only does he bring them to the States, he gives them Social Security. What are you giving it for them? I feel like they deserve it. What do they deserve? We work. That's our money. We've been putting that money of ours in there since we started working. Why do you feel like they deserve this money? Tell me. I was listening when you and Trump was going head up and he was saying all this stuff about you and the Ukraine. Got me raising my eyebrow like the Rock. You ain't gave us nothing. The money that you gave them, you could have gave that to us for all the stuff we've been through. Then I heard something about you thinking about giving it to some country in Africa. No. You don't give nothing to Africa. You give it to the people who have been going through this. Their ancestors been going. We are those scars. We are the generations of people who've fallen behind who should get that from our forefathers. What is so hard about loving us and giving us a chance? Don't you realize we're not trying to get on our feet to attack? What's happened in the past has happened in the past. But right now, we need something. We need to come together. Everybody, it hurts when we see our government bring foreigners over here without paying taxes, giving them houses, money for businesses, and then they come over here with their heads all out, looking down on us like we ain't nothing. You ain't gave us those opportunities. And I'm going to say something to a lot of foreigners. This ain't all of you, but this is some of you. I get tired of y'all talking about, well, they're lazy. They ain't doing that. My great-great-grandfather from the old country came here. He worked hard. We work hard, too. We would work hard if we were given the opportunities. You see, I've studied a lot of history. I've talked to a lot of older people. The problem is, when slavery and during the Jim Crow era, we weren't offered opportunities that people who came from overseas was. Imagine if your parents who came from the old country came here and they worked hard, but they were never given an opportunity to get money and start a business because of the color of their skin or because of the country they came from. They're not allowed to go through certain stores downtown. They're not allowed to go downtown and apply for a business license because they came from a different country or because of the color of their skin. You see, that's what a lot of our people had to go through. They said a lot of our forefather men were lazy. They weren't lazy. See, the problem was they were shut out. You see, if you are educated, went to school, you're showing up on time, you're the best worker you could possibly be. But if nobody hires you, you don't get hired. Give you an example. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, let's say these are two of the best basketball players ever. Let's say they played on a basketball team where the coaches would never play them. They're the best on the team, but if that coach don't put them out there and play, you never know how good they are. That's what a lot of our men had to go through. They weren't lazy. They just couldn't get the jobs. Then the system comes in around the 60s and says, hey, to a lot of our women, if you take this welfare, we'll give you housing, Section 8. We'll give you food stamps. We'll give you a check, welfare check. The only thing you have to do is get that black man out of your house. Why does he have to go out? You're messing up the... You can't put him in your house if you want this. He can't get a job anyway. So what does he do? He leaves out so his woman and his kids can have shelter and food because they won't hire him no matter what. So he's already depressed. What do most people do when they go through a depression? They drink. They may get on drugs because they look for an outlet. You see it all the time with a lot of celebrities. When they get big and famous and rich, they get on cocaine and heroin because they don't have any more goals. Life seems fake, so they escape by taking drugs. There's a lot of blacks who were never given the opportunity. A lot of blacks even said, hey, I'm going to join the military. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to fight in this war. And when they came back, and a lot of those who were down south, they come back wearing medals. There was a lot of people down south got mad and killed them. Are you over there thinking you something? You killing them white people over there. And they killed some, a lot of them. A lot of them was lynched and hung in the uniforms that they fought for their country. And a lot of them went to war just to come back to this country, sit in the back of the bus, sit in the back of the movie theaters, way up in the balcony and everything. No matter what they did, it was never good enough. You see, a lot of people don't want to talk about this, but this is what I'm talking about. But what happens? You got a lot of lawmakers down south talking about they want to close the books. We're not going to teach that part of history. Oh, yeah, but then we're supposed to still say we remember 9/11, we remember the Holocaust. Why can't we be remembered for the history of what we've been through? I'm not putting nobody else down. We have a voice. We have cries. Why is it our people, when it comes to our leaders, are all entertainers? Why aren't they like lawyers, people who went to college to study all types of things to get us ahead? When I look at, and that's what Malcolm X has said years ago, I found it really ironic. Well, I see Bill Russell, Muhammad Ali, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, you know, Joe Lewis. I'm looking at all entertainers. Where are our people who've gone to Harvard or Princeton or even some of the best HBCUs to be representing us? I look at the people in Asia. I don't see a bunch of entertainers representing them. The people in the Midwest, entertainers. I don't see, even in corporate America, I don't see Robert De Niro, Brad Pitt, Tom Hanks represent. I don't see that. I only see that in the black people, entertainers. It's sad. And part of it is our fault too, because you have to look at what a lot of our kids are raised to see. I go in most classrooms. I want to be a basketball, but I want to be a football. I want to be a rapper. I want to be a dancer or something negative because that's all they see. Why is it that? Why is it when I go in different hoods and I go in different stores, the clothing stores, I look on the wall, I'm seeing Al Pacino, Scarface pictures. I'm looking over here, I'm seeing Al Capone. I'm seeing Nino Brown. I'm seeing chronic blunt leafs. Everything glorifying nothing but just sin and crime, drugs, alcohol, sex, anything. Why am I only seeing that? Why don't I see people like King, Thurgood Marshall, Malcolm X? Why don't I see people who really made a huge contribution to the black community? Like I said, it's our fault because instead of supporting artists who are out here trying to rap about something, giving you knowledge like Nas, they want to promote a lot of other artists. And I'm not going to say their names because they trying to get their money. I get it. But when you get your money, you get to a certain status, what's wrong with flipping the script and saying, hey, y'all, we got to get together. We got to do something. We got to make things better for us. Our people are crying and dying. And I'm not lying. I keep all that rhyming going because that's what I did. But I've been through a lot of different eras where I've seen how things have changed over and over again. The stuff that we doing is like a dog chasing his tail in a circle over and over till he gets tired. Then he gets up and he's chasing his tail again. It's like what they say on the streets, chasing that ghost. Let me ask you guys something, and this is for my black people. If you were a foreigner, let's just say hypothetically, no disrespect, let's just say you were from China, and you really wanted to know about black people because you love the music, you like the way they dance, they look, their hair, all of that. And you say, I'm going to go on Facebook, I'm going to find some black people, I'm going to go on their friends' pages, and I'm going to look. And you start going on there, and you looking at videos, World Star, and you seeing people fight. You see about 13 girls walking through a neighborhood, another 10 girls, and they fighting, beep, get out, da, da, da. And everybody's laughing, and they filming, and the girls' clothes are being ripped, and they fighting, and everybody's laughing and going off. Here come the po-po, everybody run. You're like, wow, why are they posting that? You go to another page, you see people, they having a shootout. You seeing people arguing. You seeing more fights. You seeing, and what I'm calling, you know for yourself, you seeing this too. What would you say if you was of another race and every time you go on black people's pages, not all, but a lot of pages, you keep seeing this, what would you think of your race? Don't look too good, do it. Because I'm going to tell you, like I said, we're guinea pigs. We are the experiment. This is what they seeing. This is why I would always hear, they're savages. They just wild animals. A lot of that stuff goes on in other races too. The thing is, they're not airing their laundry out to the world. They ain't showing the world what's going on. We got to do better, people. We have to do better. I'm just sick of it. We're not sticking together. What do we really own? I'm tired. This is going to hurt, but it's real. I'm black. I know a lot of my people. Most of my people don't even have between $500 to $1,000 in a savings account. I want you to ask yourself, you may have all these Jordans, you may have these purses and all of this, and what you get depreciates value the moment you buy it. The price goes down. But I want you to ask, I want you to ask yourself, do you have at least 500? Do you have at least $1,000 saved up in the bank? A lot of our people don't even have that. They live check by check, but they make sure they get their bag of weed. They make sure they getting that. They making sure they getting them nails done. Oh yeah, I know I'm making some people mad, but the truth gonna hurt. How we gonna get somewhere if we don't start talking about it? Bad habits are hard to break, but we got to start breaking them and putting our money in the right direction. I don't know about y'all, but I'm tired of seeing this. I'm tired of living like this. I want to be able to uplift. Another problem I see, we put down a lot of our smart people, aka nerds or highly intelligent. A lot of our women won't even, oh, he's weak. I need me somebody thug from the street. Then you wonder why a lot of our intelligent brothers, once they get through college, get on their feet, get money, a lot of them go to different races where they're accepted. When we gonna start accepting and glorifying our young men who are highly intelligent? I don't care if the bifocals are this thick in their glasses. They smart. They bringing us to the future. When we gonna start investing into them instead of investing in people playing basketball, football, and sports? The people who are behind the scenes, the people who are creating the inventions that sets us further into the future. We need to support all of our people. This country, whew, when I think about the prison population, how come there's more black people locked up? Hold up, I'm sick of y'all with that too. Because there's been plenty of experiments done that wherever there's poverty, there is a lot of crime that takes place. More blacks kill more blacks. All races kill more within a race than other races. The reason why you may see more in blacks is because they're the poorest that's been down there. I guarantee if you flip the script with a lot of white people being the poorest, you will see their crime go up. A lot of them that can't win in a court. We know what's going on. You will see if you put other races at the very bottom, don't give them as many opportunities, give them poor education, poor books, poor utensils in the schools and everything. Every time they do a crime, they get hit real hard. They got felony on the application before they're 20 years old. Let's see how many of those people wind up in the penitentiary. We know the blacks make up the majority of the penitentiary, only being 11 to 13% in this country. But we know the reason why, but we want to tell half the truth. And like they say, half of the truth is a whole lie. We don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about that we bring all these foreigners in. A lot of them don't have to pay taxes, giving money for business, giving nice houses and everything. When a lot of those blacks have been here from the get-go and you won't give them nothing. Then let's talk about, I think America has like 28% of the world's prison population. I think, Germany has like 4 or 5%, France the same, the UK about 6%. We have more in our prison system than 4 of the biggest countries in Europe. Another thing, over in Europe and some of those countries, after so many years, as long as it's not a murder or a pedophile, you can work your felons off your record. Over here in America, once you become a felon, you're a felon for life. A slave to the system. It's sad. And we know who makes up a lot of them felons. Then when you get people want to talk about what benefits them. Well, I work hard. We work hard too. If I don't care how hard you work, if I never gave you the opportunity to start those businesses or work your way from the bottom up, if I never hire you just because how you look, you would never be as successful as you are. But that's how it goes. You got to be given an opportunity. Yes, there's some people that are given great opportunities. Well, you got all these rich athletes. Listen to what you're saying, rich athletes. You rich entertainers. And part of you are right because a lot of them should say, hey, I got this. We need to sit and work on how we can invest in our community so we don't have to keep putting our hands out here asking people for stuff. That's why people like Martin Luther King was a Republican. He didn't want that welfare because people start getting lazy. They get hooked on it. You know, it's sad to me that I can see, and I'm speaking for the veterans now because I love my veterans. Why is it I see so many veterans in this country with amputated legs and arms and they fighting? They're fighting for some type of welfare. And they're being just looked past. But here comes a woman because she can have a kid, she can get an increase 200-300 on her food stamps, on her welfare check, housing. Why are we so quick to cater to a woman for having a kid than a man who just lost having amputations in a war fighting for our country so we can have the freedom to live the way we do? It's so many things that need to be fixed. And we constantly bring in a lot of people in this country. And when you say, hold up, we're going to have to get rid of some of these people, then people get mad. Well, if we start losing all our resources, and then it comes a time when you can't get those jobs you like. There's not enough food to go around. You can't make the money you got because there's a lot of other foreigners in. Well, why we got them? Why? But remember, when Trump was trying to get a lot of people out, not people who were born here or whatnot, but it's a process. There's other countries. You can't just pop in and stay over there. If you don't have a visa in their country, they're going to put you out too because they only have so many resources for their people. So I'm not talking negative on anybody who's an illegal alien, but there's a system in every country. I'm just saying, people. There's a lot that's going on. Black people, wake up, look around. Look around. We are our biggest enemies a lot because we're constantly into it with each other. I mean, you know, other races laugh when you say, oh, I'm team light skin. Oh, I'm team dark skin. Y'all both black. I see white people. I see blondes, redheads, brunettes. They're white. Just different hair, different skin complexions. Why are people still carrying that raggedy Willie Lynch model from the field Negro to the house Negro to this day? You ain't no better than the other. You ain't more black because you dark, and you ain't more special because your hair is curly and you light skin. When it's all said and done, all of us are people. If there was a way we could snap our fingers like Thanos and everybody just lost all their skin and all their hair, everybody's just got that skull look, where would the racism come in? Because we all look alike. Where would it come? We all have to get along as a people in this world. But for us that's black at the bottom, we got to start looking out for each other. We have to get to where we have to be happy. What's wrong with seeing somebody elevate to your level or go higher? Why you can't be happy for somebody who's elevated to your level or has gotten more than you? All that independent, this and that. Why do we make our heroes the criminals? And then when we do get a black cop, oh, you won't sell out, you Uncle Tom. Why? Because you breaking the law? But if somebody did this crime to your family member, you'd want this law person to do his job. Just because it's you think you special, we got to change, folks. We just got to change. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. We're going to get back on the subject. Also, if you agree, write it up in the comments. If you don't agree, write it up in the comments. Let's see where we're going to go with this. We're going to keep putting this stuff out. We ain't hiding nothing. We're going to speak on it till we get to where we need to be. We need to expose ourselves to where we got to quit making the same mistakes. Because one thing I know about history, she loves to repeat herself. And I ain't trying to go backwards. But we had still a set still that we've been for a long time. All right. I'm going to wrap it up. Y'all know what it is. I'm Roman. Saint, aka Roman. Man Status 101. Hit the subscribe and the like buttons. Let's get to it another time.
From the program, but this will be determined after your financial status has been computed by us. It has nothing to do with aid to the children. You understand?
Now, if you will sign this statement, it shows your income and your expenses, Mr. Marshall, and get it back to me within 2 weeks. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand all that, but listen, I gotta ask you something because I gotta think about this thing. What happens if I lose my job?
If you're married, you must apply for welfare.
Oh, I must apply for welfare?
You must apply for welfare. Otherwise, this would constitute a misuse of ADC funds.
Which is fraud.
You understand? If the husband's unwilling or unable to make a contribution equal to what it would cost him to maintain an independent living arrangement, he must apply for welfare. Do you understand? Otherwise, this would constitute a misuse of ADC funds.
Which is fraud.
Which is misappropriation.
Which is fraud.
Right, okay, now wait a minute. Now, if I marry this lady, I want to make things better. But if I spend $1 on it, you're going to deduct it from her, right? If I want to buy a little something extra, you're going to deduct it. And I better report every penny I spend, or else I'm a crook. Okay, now you say if I lose my job, I must apply for welfare because I can't just sit around eating the government's biscuit.
Which is fraud.
Because that's a fraud, right? Okay, now, if I do go into welfare, then I'm just another lazy-ass nigga that's living off taxpayer. All right, now, suppose I do not marry this lady. Now, if I move in with her and do not tell you, then we're both crooks, right? But if I do tell you, then we're back to the income and the outcome and the deducting, and you drive me to drink. And you call a fraud if I spend $7 for a bottle of whiskey.
In the transatlantic slave trade, they and their descendants fueled the nation's economy, especially in the South. Labor was free. When slavery was abolished after the Civil War, the newly freed people were originally promised 40 acres and a mule. But after President Lincoln's assassination, Andrew Johnson overturned the agreement, instead compensating the former slave holders. Reconstruction was ended prematurely in 1877, and through the 20th century, black people were denied voting rights through Jim Crow laws. Black veterans were denied full GI Bill benefits. Black homeowners were denied equal housing through redlining, and black Americans were terrorized by white supremacist groups. More than 4,400 people were lynched. In 2016, average median black American net worth was $17,409. Now, that means that half of all families had net worth, houses, whatever assets they've got that was higher than that. Half had net worth that was lower. Take a look at this. Median white American income, $171,000, 10 times the median of black families. This is according to the Federal Reserve. Between 1983 and 2017, black home ownership actually ticked down a little bit, 2 points. After years, as you can see, of very little variation, white home ownership has gone up fairly steadily. These